much. I hope, after Mr. Chugh and subsequently Mr. Gupta and the last speaker, there is hardly anything between me and lunch. So, especially, actually, to start with what Dr. Sahu said, that transformation is not for today or tomorrow. Transformation is for reality, and it is actually we who have started and adapted transformation, and that's why we are here. And right now, every government entity has understood it. If we go back nearly 10 years, we would be actually discussing about what would happen in 10 years. Right at this point of time, we are in the domain of ChatGPT, which has accelerated the journey especially from AI to general intelligence, and very soon from general intelligence to human intelligence. So when we are talking about the benefits of artificial intelligence, we are actually talking about the competition between man and machine. There has been a very candid discussion across many fora that machine will be overtaking man. I have a different view. Before I delve into my topic of cyber assurance, the ubiquitous answer to cyber ails, I would like to just share my view on that. I hope it could give you some food for thought. Man creates the machine. So if the machine has to achieve, it can never surpass man's wisdom, because man has created machine, and man's limitation, man does not know. So the fathom of intelligence and knowledge of man might actually come back and show like a machine has become a sentient. I don't know how many of you have seen the latest installment of MI, Mission Impossible. There it was talking about the entity which has become sentient. And if you start watching it, you would suddenly remember that nearly 10-15 years back, there was a movie of Tom Cruise himself that is called Minority Report. So at that point of time, actually Minority Report conversed about artificial intelligence, general intelligence, and human intelligence. And in that Minority Report, that film showed that humans in a condition of trance, collectively creating an intelligence and alerting the law enforcement agencies before some bad things happen. So I personally believe, even if we allow the machines to learn, it cannot surpass the unfathomable intelligence and knowledge that human possess. How to fight this menace that could actually come across us? Right at this point when we are talking here, only 2 days back, the greatest news that actually hit hard was compromise of ChatGPT. And in that compromise, nearly 1 lakh, this users' data from Indians have been compromised. They were compromised. So as we are continuously utilizing ChatGPT's API, and just like what in Odisha, the news anchor has been made, or it had been made, and it is really a fab sharing in different social media how this news anchor is coming up with the news on the fly. I would request you to go back and ask how many poems Rabindranath Tagore wrote in English to ChatGPT. And if you allow it to enumerate, you would find that there are many poems which Rabindranath Tagore did not write. My wife is a teacher of English, And when I actually introduced her to ChatGPT, this is the first question that she asked the ChatGPT. And ChatGPT enumerated innumerable poems, the first lines. Then I actually brought out the Gitanjali, and then I found out lots and lots of poems are not there in Gitanjali. Then I started confronting ChatGPT, and ChatGPT told, I am sorry, I somehow misunderstood. Then I asked, you might have misunderstood, but these are not the poems. Who wrote this? Then it said that actually I could not find, I thought these type of poems should have been written by Rabindranath Tagore. So this is around 3 months back. So only 3 days back, the same thing, I once again, I requested my wife to actually, I was seeing her, preparing for her students the day after, and it was, the name of the piece was The Shady Plot by L.C. Brown. I don't know how many of you have read. By the way, I read that piece. So then I requested her, why don't you ask ChatGPT to write, actually she was writing the pen sketch of Lovelina, the wife of the protagonist. So I requested her, why don't you ask ChatGPT to write the pen sketch of that character? And she actually asked that ChatGPT, you please write. Then first answer came, that character does not exist in L.C. Brown's The Shady Plot. Then she confronted, she told, no, you are wrong, there is this plot, there's this character. Then said, oh, I am sorry, I am very sorry. I somehow grumbled that it actually wrote. And it brought out a detailed character sketch. Then my wife showed me that it had nothing to do with the shady plots, character of Lovelina. So why I am telling you such, that when, unstructured data is allowed to create a pattern, many times that pattern might not be as acceptable as it seems on its face value. With that threat in mind, let me start with my small presentation. Don't get bored with the presentation. I tried my best to make you understand or present before you the basics of cyber assurance. Before I go into that, I would quote, Professor Noam Chomsky. I often quote him. That Professor Chomsky says that awareness is the responsibility of government. Government has to actually ensure awareness. It is a lateral spread that we need, laboratory at home is a necessity for everybody, be it educated, uneducated, rich or a poor, whosoever it is. And it is a necessity because it does not only reduce the chances of getting ill, it actually saves one's money. Because if somebody falls ill, that person will not be going to his work, he will lose money. That person will go to doctor and shows him, he will lose money. That person will go and buy medicines, he will lose money. That person will buy medicine and eat them, he will have side effects, he will once again go to doctor, he will lose money. So if that person has a sanitary latrine unit at home, he will not only, actually make things better for him, but he will save money for his family. So ultimately it comes down to market and economics. So awareness is a lateral requirement and it has to be ensured by the government. But knowledge is a necessity of aware people, and that is by choice, a portion. So you all here, you are professionals, and it is the responsibility befallen upon you to provide skilling and knowledge to the aware people. So I would actually go into, this is not working? Yes. So I would just like to ask you to go through how the past threat landscape in the 2010s looked like. I took it from mostly OWASP. It is system access, security bypass, exposure of sensitive information, cross-site scripting, denial of service, exposure of system information. And you would be astonished that all these things, for each and every one of this, there is CV is available. The root cause analysis has been done over and over again. Patches are available. Not only patches, workarounds are also available. And OWASP enlists most of these vulnerabilities till today. Just go into the latest OWASP top 10, top 20, top 50. You will be getting it within the top 20. So why? It took more than 13, 14 years not even to address any one of them because of our casual nature. We do not want to actually, attend to the cyber hygiene practices that we are required to when we deal with a network, an endpoint, or a process per se. So, where should I, target it? Here? I'm actually jumping, I hope. Can you just, do it for me? Okay. Yes. So, you come back to 2022. 80%, 85% of all data breaches involve human interactions. 96% organizations grant third-party access to their CIE. Do not care, we have multiple data centers back at our home. That means our state data centers by West Bengal government. And most of, post-pandemic, most of the actually scripters, coders, and hosters, they require this third-party access directly to our secure data center for continuous updation and changes required. And as we are into the domain of do it yesterday, आज ऐसे बात करते करते हम एप्लीकेशन बनाते हैं और तुरंत उसको उठा देते हैं because it is the necessity of the will, people's will, directly or indirectly. So we give access to third party and that leads to third party exposure. Configuration mistake. Rapid 7 reports 80% external pen tests encounter configurable misconfiguration. Poor cyber hygiene, 54% IT professionals, specifically from Silicon Valley in the USA, they do not have MFA. Because हम सुट्टा लेने जाते हैं, वापस आकर के फिर से बायोमेट्रिक करना पड़ेगा क्या? So it is still like, basic locking of your screen. Cloud vulnerabilities. As per Gartner, 41% increase between 2020 and 2021, loss standing at 841 million. Mobile device vulnerabilities. Just before, the last speaker has been actually talking about this necessity. Mr. Gupta was talking about visualization of this when we talked about the network it is accessing to. Just imagine what is happening around us. 46% companies witness security incident involving downloading of malicious mobile applications. So technologies of today, tomorrow and beyond, smart paces, generative AI, I started my discussion today with that. Metaverse, whether we accept or not, it is going to stay. It is going to stay and come back to us in a sinusoidal manner because it is a new place where corporate wars will be fought. Because people can come and access me. Just imagine what happens when we start court, if we start court hearings in metaverse. And that is going to happen. Even central government companies and PSUs, they are coming up big in metaverse. And that day is not too far when आपके तहसीलदार भी metaverse में आपसे interact करेंगे. So, this does not exist.com. This is the fake website, creator website. So you go into that, create your own thing which looks like anything. And this does not exist. So whatever you want, you can create here. And this is not what I am talking about, like Sandeep and others. This is not something go deep into the black side or dark side of our darknet. No, it is very much open and available. The ChatGPT encountered hack, and its accounts hacked, data of over 1 lakh, compromise, and India tops that list. So, what is happening? Very recently, Dr. Shahu today, talked about this, because very recently, Government of India brought out this, advisory on beware of AI-generated deepfake. He talked exclusively about this cyber, this cyber what? You talked about blackmailing and all these things on cyber? Yes. So this is how blackmailing is being done by these fake websites and deepfake. I was actually talking to Sandeep while at the start of this, and we were talking for creation of some AI-driven chatbot for cyber security answers and all. And he actually guided me. He told, why don't you use deepfake technology to make it look real? So deepfake is also becoming as a service. If we see the latest figures of cybersecurity costs in 2022, the cybersecurity costs has gone up to $6,000 billion in 2022. And percentage of companies who have received cybersecurity attack during the last year, and attacked and not yet attacked. So attacked, the number is staggering 39%. And Gartner is the place where this .NET Safer has put up this report. 500,000 Zoom accounts compromised by credential stuffing sold on dark web. This is the first news post when pandemic made us go back to home and start this work from home. This is the first news of compromise, just when Zoom was actually witnessing a hockey stick growth. Suddenly, there was a tweet by Twitter itself, tweet by New York Post, that on 27th October 2022, after the New York Post itself tweeted that we have been hacked. New York Post has been hacked. We are currently investigating the case. This is the post that came up in the tweet of New York Post. What happened? After that, the next thing is New York Post employee hijacks their administrative credential of New York Post itself and tweeted from inside, the insider, compromise. So what is this? This is nothing but the reason is behind. It is called shoulder surfing. So we are very casual and we are allowing our credentials to be witnessed, copied. And not only that, remember everybody, this CCTV with the smart logic enabled CCTV, you can absolutely capture anybody's, fingering, anybody's fingering. And it's very easy, and these solutions are sold less than 900 rupees. So if this hall is CCTV'd, and if that feed is somehow compromised, then any one of us who is actually fingering our credentials into our smart devices, it can be actually misutilized. So technological intervention is required in intelligent controls, video analytics of CCTV footage, blockchain stamping of access. We often think that it is very costly when we keep data on blockchain. Right now, blockchain as a service is the greatest boon for us, and we should continuously utilize that. Identify access mismatch by AI/ML, incorporating predictive controls using big data. And that is where I would like to come back, that when we use smart devices, we often think, till today, we often think for, this operation and maintenance based upon feedback, rather than we should utilize much more or invest much more into predictive this operation and maintenance of all our devices. And that will not only cut our costs, continuously assess whether our turnaround and ROI is what we want. And I would just jump into this thing. It is a very common thing that I would like to let you think about once more, that this is where the whole thing lies, and the reason behind is, this is the latest figure that I have taken from the national survey, that we have 1.36 billion Aadhaar complete, 1.25 billion telecom subscribers, 692 million internet, 644 million e-commerce, 497 social media, 493 smartphones, 300 million UPI digital payments per day, and 268 million food delivery. So the risk management framework looks like this, you are quite knowledgeable about, and understanding digital security based upon that, that is where the cyber assurance comes into play. If we know our control, and if we really think that data security is where we should go, we should start adopting very basic practices for cyber assurance. A student recently, he was picked up by Germany for running largest darknet market. Why I am telling you this? Because the entire thing happened on metaverse. And the top trends in cyber security, if you talk about cyber assurance, is attack surface expansion, the number one, identity system defense, IAM, basically behind it, 2. 3 is digital supply, vendor consolidation, security mesh, distributed decisions, and beyond awareness, that what Gartner says today. So the threat landscapes, it also resonates what Mr. Chuk said, Mr. Gupta also mentioned, and my previous speaker, my colleague, he also mentioned about the greatest threat looming over us is lack of skilled resource. 25 lakh cybersecurity professionals are required in the country. As per 2020 report of NASSCOM, still today we haven't crossed 2 lakh, because most of our qualified people, they are working for others, not for this country. And work from home has actually exacerbated that. It has increased the whole thing. The impact on regulatory change or lack of it, continuously we are yet to have a data privacy act. It will be coming hopefully. Speed of innovation, privacy, identity, personally identifiable information, sensitive personally identifiable information, data-driven decision making, cyber terrorism. But the basic answer lies in cyber assurance practice. And when we talk about cyber assurance practice, we need to actually understand that there should be a culture behind it. My previous speaker also talked about that. So that is cyber security culture, cyber security satisfaction quotient. That means whether I am sure about what I am doing. I need to understand my satisfaction level and need to always remain up to that limit. And together with this aware society, coupled with deep skilling of aware people, because today the superficial skilling will not do, the deep skilling is required, and with the aware society and the deep skilling making much more professionals around us, helping us around, we will be actually venturing for a future which is a cyber safe society. Before I end, I would just like to tell you 2-3 things. That in order to actually go ahead with this intention of creating many professionals all around us, we should not look beyond our immediate ecosystem. Start with the people all around you, whether they are simply guards in your organization, train them and make them cyber security guards. If they are only some clerks in your organization, try to make them compliant clerks, compliant associates. And if you have some system administrators, try to make them network security experts. And only then you need not look beyond your immediate neighborhood, and you could create deep skilling within your organization to lead to this race that is called cyber safe society, and through that we will collectively ensure cyber security assurance. Thank you so much. God bless you.